Are you ready to talk about our favorite show?
Yeah.
All
I mean, I think it is safe to say this is our favorite show.
It's a lot of fun. I've been having fun talking about it.
I just love the discourse that is coming out of the show.
Yeah.
A lot of people are talking about this show, you know, all the snooty, faux, highbrow journalistic institutions are writing about it.
Yeah, but they're not doing a good job. Like Vice, ever since you pointed out that one article, dude, it pops up all the time that they're talking about the show. But it's not really that interesting. I don't know.
Dude, Randy, did you see the New Yorker?
I think I saw the headline. Yeah, I didn't read the article, probably because I had already read a New Yorker article this month.
That'll do it.
You met your quota.
Yep. One free per month.
All right.
That's insane.
I spent all my free time doing that Randy Sex Life stinger, so I don't have a rehearsal roundup one. But yeah, we got episode 5, astutely titled Apocalypto.
Oh man.
And Clark, I'm sure you want to kick this one off as it introduced your new favorite character of the show.
There are a few times in life where, just the term cold open gets me excited. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where we're just off to the races. And anytime you think about a cold open, you want to live up to those expectations. You want it to pack a punch. And this packed such a gastrointestinal punch because you open up with a child who calls himself Dr. Fart. And he lets you into his office, a.k.a. you're going into a child's bedroom. And he is inspecting you. And you are ill. Dr. Fart says, I'm here to help you. What's your best? Give me what you got, Dr. Fart. He said, well, you got to eat my poo-poo.
You yada, yada, yada over all the farts. They tried many methods.
He farts on him. And he's like, well, it'll keep you alive, my farts. But you got to eat my poo. And put a melted candy bar on the plate. Nathan Fielder takes the melted candy bar and he eats the poo-poo.
Yeah, you as a comic, you're very smitten with the sketch.
And then they reveal that they're watching a home video of this. And Angela, the mother of this wonderful nuclear family, is disgusted and completely grossed out by Nathan's participation in this.
She holds it together on the couch.
She does. But then it is an ongoing fight throughout the rest of the episode.
I think the important thing here is
the perfect way to open up.
Well, Adam has been reverted back to a 6-year-old at this point. And earlier, I think in episode 4 or 3, we had been first introduced to the faux experience of memories being recorded. And there was a very emotional little montage where Nathan was running around with one of the Adam actors. And it was striking to me then how actually affected I felt, even though I knew this was all phony. And, we're kind of revisiting that here, and it had a little bit more weight to it because we know the alternate reality where Adam ended up ODing and running away. So it's kind of like, oh, it's nice to be back here. And then when Angela kind of gives her like lack of enthusiasm, it's like, well, man, what's up with this bitch? Like I was rooting for her.
Yeah.
But it was like, man, can you participate a little bit? Which
later when we learn in the episode, she was not participating much at all.
How betrayed did you feel by that?
I mean, I always sort of sensed she wasn't fully in it anyway.
Then what are you doing?
I guess. I don't know what she does in her life. If her dream life is, her mailing stuff out of her Etsy business, making what was she making?
I don't know, candles or something.
Randy, do you remember?
No.
Scented oil, I think, or I have no idea.
Something something useless.
Yeah.
You like scented candles.
Yes, but that's not my life's goal.
Yeah, it's a weird. I mean, clearly we know that Angela, she must have had a a pretty checkered background, and she found God as in an attempt to correct things, and she's overdone it. She's gone too far that direction. Which religion is the next hurdle.
Well, that was the thing. Look, why should people change? She went too far in one direction and goes too far in the other direction. Like these things,
Well, she just needs to be authentic, I think. I mean, I'm no psychologist, but
well, no. But what I'm saying is, you are your nature, man.
yeah,
you're either a frog or you're a scorpion, and sometimes scorpions are this color, sometimes scorpions are that color. You're a scorpion.
Oh, that's my favorite quote. Who are you calling that back from? Is that like Socrates or something?
Was that Aesop?
Oh my god! No, so they get into a discussion of religion, as this house is hyper Christian. We have a beautiful large tree. We have lights up front, and it's wintertime. And Nathan, again pulling back the curtain and revealing the production, remarks on how expensive it is to maintain winter. And we see a dude out there blowing snow on their car. And we get that beautiful drone shot lifting up where the house is in the center. And as we pull further and further away, it is revealed that we have like 100 feet diameter of snow to help make this fantasy a reality.
Yeah.
Man, at every turn in this show, I'm shocked by the commitment.
Do we have any idea of what the budget for this show was?
No clue.
Or the budget per episode?
Yeah, see if you can find anything.
Because I imagine, what did they make? 6 episodes?
Yeah.
Yep.
What do you think? $1 million an episode?
Well, I don't know. Does
As a budget?
I mean, HBO did make Game of Thrones, and that show had to be like a movie every episode.
And I don't think this is certainly Game of Thrones numbers, but
No.
I imagine this is doing decently for them.
Hey, and here's the thing. This show is really heady at first glance, right? But I've talked to people who don't watch anything leaning artful, like everything's kind of casual film viewing. And I've gotten several people to watch this, and they feel rewarded by it. I think the emotional impact is just there, even if you give a shit about the craft or not.
Yeah.
And I think this episode, dude, every episode we get, they're doubling down on it. And when the conversation of, Nathan being Jewish comes up and he's like, hey, can I have a little bit of my like tradition in raising Adam? Dude, Angela fucking stonewalled him.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know. How did y'all feel about that?
Unsurprised.
Unsurprised for sure, but it's kind of brutal.
It's just brutal, as she's so unwavering. And if he's so timid that I thought, like, man, well, maybe if you would just be like, hey, it's important to me. But I felt like he did that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she just didn't give a shit.
Now, I'd like to shift focus, as we're talking about Angela a good bit, but now in this episode, Nathan announced that he wanted to be fully committed to his family, and there weren't going to be any sort of other rehearsals going on, that he was going to fully commit to this rehearsal. So by virtue of that, he still had to do a rehearsal.
Yeah.
So he brought in a fake Angela, and I would like to talk about the fake Angela for a second. Now, apparently this was a woman that was in the previous episode as a part of his acting troupe.
Yep.
And he has gone through and he has hired several of them for... Now, another thing that he did in this episode was he said that he had his bar sitting in the warehouse for over a month. And what he decided to do was get a temporary special event liquor license for that state, and then created a very narrow tunnel that was nearly 100 feet inside
85.
this 85-foot tunnel to the entrance of the bar to the street, where they had a building facade out there where he created Nate's Lizard Lounge, since he couldn't use the alligator bar, and then open it up as an actual bar and would hang out there and introduce the people as Nate.
And that bar is in the same state that he's in, because I think they briefly mentioned in episode 3 that they moved the bar. Yeah, from the original warehouse. So yeah, I've been looking at Reddit a little bit. There's a large community out there for the rehearsal, and somebody did God's work and had created a Redbubble shirt for Nate's Lizard Lounge. So I threw that in the chat, Randy. You should look at it. Originally, I guess it had gotten a copyright strike immediately and got pulled.
Damn.
But I think it wasn't. People are speculating that HBO didn't do it. It was actually like Redbubble. So this one should live on there. But did you order one, Clark?
I didn't.
All right, because I know you talked about it.
This looks good.
Yeah, I don't know. We might have to pull the trigger on that. But the rehearsal of Angela, I think I predicted that last week when we were talking about it, that he was going to move more towards family life and need to rehearse difficult conversations.
Yeah.
I got a little bit of a flashback from episode 1 here, as these rehearsals ended up taking a pretty brutal, like these actors, man, they're fucking good. I don't know what it is, but there was that heated moment where I believe she knocked a lamp over and was asking, she kept calling Nathan a liar. And now Angela does this later on this episode too. And I was so confused. I'm like, why? But I think the actor kind of got in Angela's head and was able to articulate it. And she kept saying, you created this world, but you're not emotionally participating. And that makes you just working. Like you're lying. And she said, aren't you here for an actual emotional moment? And he's like, yeah. And she's like, well, you can never have one.
Yeah.
And it's like one of the most brutal. It's so brutal.
And his face, like I was dying laughing in my room alone when that scene was happening. And it just, because his reaction, because like he's trying to match her intensity, and you can see him in Nathan Fielder brain try to get in there because he's going like this. Oh, it's wonderful.
I don't know. I felt diminished. Like, I don't know. That shit was brutal. I was not laughing.
And it was also brutal. But I laugh at brutality.
Anyway, we skipped around a little bit. After the rejection of Judaism in the house, Nathan informs Angela that he's signed up Adam for swimming lessons and he'll be back later. We learn pretty quickly that they were never going to the pool. They're going to a mosque.
Not a mosque.
Synagogue.
A synagogue. I'm very up on religion.
God. Randy, cut that out. Make him sound like a dinkus.
Which one is the mosque? Is that Muslim?
Which one is the mosque? We're trying to pull numbers in Europe, dude. What the hell?
Churches, mosques, and synagogues,
Mister, I'm going to read 50 books a year.
I haven't gotten to that one yet that sorts it all out.
Fuck.
So we end up at a synagogue. How did you all feel about making the little kid pick between being a Christian or a Jew?
It was pretty cute. I liked it. He coaxes him with the hat.
Yeah. What's the hat called?
I forget already.
I don't know. I don't like this line of questioning.
Why? We were just on a podcast and you said we were going to have Ghislaine Maxwell on the next episode, but you don't want to talk about a yarmulke?
It's
like
a kippah?
A kippah.
Yeah. Win one for the kippah.
There we go. Yeah, I don't know. I was watching it with my mom, who is very Christian. She's often guilted me about not making me go to church enough. So I was curious to see how she would react. Like, oh, is this a good thing or not? I think she just thought it was funny. Which I think probably everybody that watched it would just be like, it's funny. Because, Nathan even says, I stopped going to synagogue because I found it boring. But, hey, it was a good chance to connect with the kid. And they get in there, and the kid asked him a bunch of very astute questions. Like, he couldn't answer one.
Yeah.
He's like, do they speak English? He's like, yeah, I'm Jewish. I speak English. I think that's about as far as he got. But, yeah, the best part of that is just, they drive to like a 7-Eleven and he buys a bottle of water and he dumps it on Adam's head. And then he lays out the towel and dumps it. And he's like, all right, your mom's going to think we went to a pool here. And he started feeding him answers. Do you think that worked comedically, Clark?
It was wonderful. I thought it was great because the kid Kid was invested, man. And that's another thing of the show that we've talked a little bit about, but they have a lot of extras, and these are professional actors, these kids. And it's always fun to see like the level of commitment in some of these. Like the Dr. Farts kids, that kid was just having fun.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
And it was great. And we're not done talking about the fart scene, but this kid, he just had this natural disposition about him where I'm like, yeah, I would believe, because he's just a chatty kid, because he starts naming like, I had a Ukrainian swim instructor, and
He had blue shorts.
his whistle was red, and just the timing of that, Nathan just put his hand on his shoulder, said, "All right, well, I think we're gonna go to our room." It was great. It was perfect.
Now, if Reddit is correct and they think that everybody is acting here, is Angela fantastic or terrible?
She's fantastic either way.
Yeah, I agree. I do agree. And I don't know. The humor of this show. I think I've rewatched every episode 2 times.
Yeah.
Which is not normal for me. But there's a lot that you just start to forget because we're layered up. And the switching of the children, but while maintaining an emotional arc with Nathan, it's just ridiculous on its face.
Yeah.
And I felt a little guilty because that moment we were talking about earlier with the actress who was portraying Angela, she was kind of articulating that in a way that I don't even know if Angela's paid attention to. Where she's like, "Do you go home and laugh at me? Like, what is this show? Am I the joke?" And I felt a little confronted as an audience member because I kind of have been laughing at her. She is like a wacky character who just kind of accepted this false world. And I felt a little guilty.
Yeah, totally.
I really did. I was like, oh shit, I'm sorry. But again, these actors almost like know the people better than they do themselves. And I knew we were just getting into some rocky territory here. And when we introduced Miriam, who is the Jewish instructor that started teaching Adam about Judaism.
Oh, Miriam.
Oh, what a character there, right? She's like the lovable grandma. She's going to bake you cookies, or what do they eat, Randy?
I don't know. Am I supposed to know this?
You've watched Seinfeld through like 5 times. They talk about
babka.
There we go. Anything would have worked. She, after the first, so Nathan starts getting Adam wet at her house and just starts throwing him in the shower. And she starts questioning him, which I'm sure, so the camera crew had to be in there, right?
Yeah.
Because the way they portray this whole thing felt a little like, it felt very quaint. And it's like, well, she's on camera. Like, she has to know that. So I wonder behind the scenes what they had told her. Like, oh, yeah, we're doing this show, the rehearsal thing. And I do think they mentioned the whole rehearsal aspect because we get one of my favorite lines in this fucking show that just showed that there's a little bit more to Miriam than just being a concerned Jewish lady. Because when she found out that Nathan was living with a woman who wouldn't allow it in any talk of like being Jewish in their home, she was instantly like, you got to get rid of this person. Like, this is why, the Jews have been murdered all throughout history, which is legitimate. Pogroms are fucking real. And they were happening way before World War II. So you sit there and you're like, this is a legitimate person who's got a good point of view. And she's like, you know what? Bring me over there. And they jump in the car. And he's like, are you sure you don't want to do a rehearsal before we get there? And she turns to him and says, no, I like to shoot from the hip. And
so good.
Dude, I don't know how you guys felt, but I was worried. I'm like, uh-oh, this is a different kind of monster here. Like, everybody in this show is kind of dealing with anxiety. This lady, I was like, is she armed? She doesn't have a care in the world, and she's got a ideology she's about to fight for. And how did you all feel about these two titans clashing on the couch?
Again, not surprised with the results that were yielded. I I don't know how long it went because it was edited
They
seem
edited,
very quickly.
yeah.
So time wise, I'd be interested to know how long it was. But I imagine it wasn't very interesting.
Well, here's the thing. You mentioned edit, and that's a good point because in reality TV, they always talk about the edit. Like even RuPaul was like, blame it on the edit. It's a thing she talks about. And people post-show like Robin Stone, who DM'd me, has been out there very vocal saying they edited me fucked up. We all know, Robin, there was no good edit in there. But when Angela was sitting on the couch with Miriam, I thought Angela was being she was being polite. Like what she was saying was kind of rude because she was being stubborn over something where it's like, just fucking let it go. And
yeah,
but she wouldn't.
Yeah.
But then we found out Miriam, and you might be right about the edit. She just straight up was like, I'm done.
Called her anti-Semitic.
Yeah, you're an anti-Semite. I have no time for you. I think we're done. And it was like, whoa. Because, say what you will about Angela. She hasn't done that.
Yeah.
Like just thrown down a gauntlet and been like, fuck you, I'm out. And I don't know, man. Miriam I was kind of taken aback by that.
Well, and then also the close of the episode is also just another home run.
Well,
how they close it out.
The showdown, it brings up another showdown where Nathan does talk to Angela, and he just mentions like, I entered into this as, I was the showrunner, but I really do want to participate in this. And when I was hanging out in Nate's Lizard Lounge, I was reviewing footage, and I noticed that every time I'm not here, you're completely removed from the immersion. Like you had mentioned her dumb shipping thing. They had bought a bunch of boxes, and like they had a simulated experience that she was supposed to go through to kind of give her the experience, and she just completely checked out of it.
Nothing.
And there was nothing for the fake mailman to pick up, which is one of my favorite little B-roll moments of that whole fucking episode. But he's making a point like, hey, I'm here. I feel like you're not engaged. And she's just like, yeah, you're right. And I think it's time to end it. And I was shocked.
As was I.
Yeah, I believe the first time I watched it was the second time you watched it, right?
Mm-hmm.
What was your reaction like? Like, holy shit, what?
Well, my first reaction was, I'm wrong.
Oh.
Because the week prior, I said on the show, I was like, yeah, the ending has to be centered around her. And you were like, yeah, naturally. And then I was like, oh, well, she's out. I was like, well, why would it be around her? This whole thing is him.
Yeah.
Of course. Duh, you moron. And it slowly become that. And, I think that's what a lot of the, writing about this show and his process has been, about how egocentrical or however they want to frame it, that this is. But, I don't know. I think that this show hits home to me because of his process and him naturally getting into, I don't know, man. I just, I love it.
Yeah. Randy, how did you feel about it?
Again, probably my favorite episode. I think it keeps getting better with every episode. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, the thing about Angela, like we were saying, I mean, I guess what it boils down to is like passive aggressiveness, but the way she says things is in like, seems like it's coming off in a kind way. Like the way she her message, we may very much disagree with, but like the way she comes off, like she's really like trying to like be nice and stuff. So it's like, yeah, I don't know, that whole thing is kind of compelling and like confusing at the same time.
Yeah.
But
unless you got pudding for brains, you can't get along with that, man.
No.
Yeah. We didn't mention, and I don't remember chronologically where it lies, the Mel Gibson conversation, which is where the title comes from.
Yeah.
Also, the parents came over. We didn't say anything about the parents.
Well, Nathan was feeling around. I believe it was before the first rehearsal, and he was kind of approaching it, and the conversation quickly was turning into an argument. And he was like, well, let's change the topic. What's your favorite movie? And she said Apocalypto. And it was the fucking funniest. I mean, in what
It's
world?
almost like she's trolling.
I know.
Yeah, totally.
Well,
but she's not.
She lectured him for playing with their faux son and simulating eating poop. and telling him that was satanic. And he's brought up a line that I've actually, said to other people where it's like, well, why don't you just fucking make a list? Because it sounds like anything you disagree with, you're just kind of like stamping with that.
Yeah.
But
and those are my favorite because that's Nathan being real.
Oh,
you
yeah.
can see real
Yeah.
frustration on his face and just the way he's processing. And my favorite line of this whole thing was, you ate a child's poop. And then she said, and he just says, he riffed it and I went with it. And I was like, that would be my defense.
He's like, do you know sketch comedy? She's like, yeah, I'm a big Key and Peele fan.
Oh, it's so good. Because he's basically saying, bitch, this is my lane. Get
Yeah.
away.
Well, let's paint the picture of her taste in visual arts. We've got Key and Peele representing her TV and comedy, and then we have Apocalypto for film.
Cool.
Yeah, and Mel Gibson is her favorite director.
Dude, how weird.
She loves his camera effect that makes it float.
Yeah, she's like,
Yeah.
he's floating.
What?
You mean like a dolly track?
Yeah, what the hell?
Dude, it's just, Key and Peele and Apocalypto. And this is the girl who thought Halloween was satanic. What a trip. I mean, I love Angela. I hate to see her go, as she did leave. And
I did dig the parent stuff too, and especially the I guess he has a conversation with them after after they all had lunch together, and I guess like his mom kind of gives him the like feedback that he kind of takes the back seat in relationships and kind of like, and he himself says like, in order to avoid confrontation, I often like let the other person kind of like take control, and I very much feel that. I have definitely done that many a times in relationships.
And on this podcast.
Yeah.
No,
I'm a backseat kind of guy. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, we want front seat Randy, baby.
Well, here's the thing. And you're right, Randy. Clark had mentioned how, people online are all saying this is all ego and Nathan. And I actually think he's making a very strong point, to hark back to a true filmmaker like Douglas Sirk, who, did Weepies and hated it. And he really mocked the faux reality of these like 50s women's film. And I think Nathan's doing a better version of this where, he keeps asking himself in this episode, like, what's real? Like, I don't remember who I am or where I am or how I should be. And I think the answer is if you build a fake house and have fake seasons and celebrate raising your son with your fake wife, and the son is also fake, I still think that's your real life. Like, you've created a faux reality, but it's all real. And it's kind of freaking me out, if I'm going to be honest. Because him inviting his parents over, when they come in, it's, they're like, you can't be with this girl because your religion. And he's like, why do you care? It's a fake kid. But he didn't say it to him.
Yeah.
And then at the very end of the episode, when Miriam comes back and he tells her, yeah, she's gone. And she's like, oh, really? That's good. But what about the boy? And he's like, well, Adam's here with me. And she said, fantastic. She was so fucking happy.
Yeah.
And then as the end credits roll,
So good.
We get a little bit of a little bit of Zionist talk out here. And she starts defending Israel in as Nathan would put it, in the current hot button issue.
If you have a platform, you should support Israel.
Yeah.
Dude. And I don't know, how did you guys feel about that moment?
It was perfect. It was absolutely perfect. And it was just sort of commentary of like, sometimes the things that you fight for are not perfect either.
Yeah.
But everything is balanced. Everything comes back full circle.
Well, I think in the relationship of fake and real, Miriam felt real, right? She was like, I don't want to rehearse. I shoot from the hip. I don't need any of this fake shit. I have real beliefs. And then she kind of defeated the pretender, right? And we're left with her and we're like, this is better. And then we realize, oh no, it's the other side of the fucking coin. And Nathan, you're still getting pushed around.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like,
dude,
it was perfect.
It was this show, I think if I could describe it with one adjective, it would be bittersweet. Every episode, I feel full of life and happy to be alive, but at the same time, I start to question all of reality. And I kind of feel bad for Nathan constantly.
Yeah.
So I can't, I had a correct prediction last week. This week, I have no idea what we're getting into or how they're going to end it.
Have no idea.
And Clark did point out when we were watching it, the end of season, or what, the season finale?
It's that season finale, so hopefully, I don't know. I feel like this may be a one and done. I just assumed maybe it was going to say series finale, but because I thought it was like a limited thing, but maybe it's a.
But I
gonna
think
be
you
an
might be
ongoing
right.
thing.
You got to pay attention to the details with this one.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, do we think we're going to get any former characters coming back? You got to, right?
No, I don't think so.
Me
Because
neither.
we didn't see the Raising Cane's guy. He said, I never saw him again.
Yeah, that's true. But Robin Stone, maybe he's going to wreck a scion into the side of the building.
Core Skeet, I'd hang out with Core.
I love this whole colorful cast.
His education situation.
I just don't know. I don't know how they're going to wrap it up. We've just got Miriam introduced, and how long was this last episode? Does anybody know?
I think it
felt
was
like
still only like 30. It was shortish.
It felt short.
I think
me.
we talked about it longer than the actual runtime of the episode.
Yeah, that's good. We need to reflect. The show's layered, man.
Clark's doing a visual bit on an audio medium right now.
Yeah.
That sums up his comedy career in a nutshell.
Well, y'all the ones who were captivated by it. So, what do you want me to do about it? Okay, the rehearsal, 3 stars from Russell Fisher. Now, this is perfect, right? It's 5 stars.
I don't know. We got one more episode.
Oh my God, Mr. Completist over here. You know what, guys? I think I'm done. I don't want to watch the end of it. Just want to edge forever, dude.